Yo, dog, I heard you like dogs. Anyway, happy Throwback Thursday, and welcome to the Creative Differences Podcast. I'm Dallas, and I haven't slept in at least 30 hours.
I'm Colin, and I have a regular sleeping schedule. Now, okay, this was because Dallas had things going on. Like, it's not like Dallas is just making bad choices, but still.
Fair.
And I'm Demi, and I've been keeping track of my sleeping schedule with my Fitbit. But also, I'm here to tell you 2 months late that Raya and the Last Dragon slaps in theaters. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, and Throwback Thursdays, and a bunch of other stuff. Today, as Dallas said, we are doing a Throwback Thursday, and we are doing it for you guys voted 101 Dalmatians, the live-action version from the 90s.
Yes, a couple things. One, Gabby's not here because she's off hunting dogs. And two, before we get into it, please like and subscribe because, like Demi said, y'all picked this. So we did this for y'all. You could throw us a subscriber too. Well, you can't if it's two because, like, you can only subscribe once, but, subscribe.
I mean, you can
and then
subscribe and then unsubscribe and then subscribe again, but that doesn't help
but that
us any.
doesn't.
Yeah, we don't need that. Just subscribe once and then like the video.
And share it.
Share
Did
it.
that
Tell your friends. Tell your friends who like dogs.
Tell your friends about me.
Boom. Let's get it.
Let's start.
Cracking. Let's see. Colin.
What's up?
Do you remember your first time watching this movie? Is this your first time watching this movie?
Okay, here's the thing. You, I think, tweeted something that just like struck me because I know I have seen this movie before. I remember none of it. However, I remember one specific scene that you also tweeted about, and that's the only thing I remember. Nothing else of the movie, but that I remember, and I don't get why.
The molasses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to take it from there because that's the only thing I remember too. This movie came out 25 years ago.
Whoa.
Came out in 1996.
Yeah. And I know I've seen it. I remember that. And I remember always being creeped out by Cruella. And then I remember her being covered in what was just a brown substance when I was a kid. I didn't know what it was until, well, I watched it today. But a few days ago, I was watching a video. John Solo, shout out to him on YouTube. He did a video about 101 Dalmatians, and he was talking about how it's molasses, apparently. And we were like, oh.
Jesus Christ. That was loud as shit. Hold on.
All right, audience, sorry about that. Colin has 101 Dalmatians in his house. They're fine. They probably didn't get snatched. Maybe they did. I can't see. Where were we? Yes, it was creepy. I didn't like it. Demi, what? Do you remember your first time watching this movie?
No, but I do remember that I can't say owned it. I own it on VHS. So I actually used to watch it quite often as a kid, whether it was the animated 101 Dalmatians or the live action one. I loved both of them. I think all of us, except for Colin, maybe had like a childhood love of like Disney, but like,
yeah, we were kids in the 90s.
I legitimately would watch any Disney movie that you set in front of me, and I probably would have loved it. And so I loved the 101 Dalmatians movies. It's funny, I didn't like live action animal movies when I was a kid. I didn't like the talking dog movies. I thought that they were really weird for some weird reason.
Those are weird.
Except I loved 101 Dalmatians, and I liked the sequel as a kid as well. And I liked Homeward Bound.
I was going to ask you if Homeward Bound, the movie you didn't like with the talking dogs.
No, I loved Homeward Bound. It was like Air Bud and stuff like that I didn't like for some reason.
Air Bud can't talk.
He can't. See, I don't know. I didn't watch Air Bud. I nothing about Air Bud appealed to me. I don't know.
He just crosses niggas up and dunks on them. That's the whole plot.
Okay, well, I wasn't down for it. But also, to be fair, the dogs don't talk in 101 Dalmatians either, or in the live action one. But yeah, those were not my types of movies, except for this one and like the Homeward Bound movies. That was it. But yeah, I used to watch it a lot. I watched it enough that I'm actually looking at the VHS across the room from me. And I think I watched it so often that the VHS cassette holder is completely like torn apart. Like the plastic is coming off of it. I think the front cover is like gone. Like I watched it so often. So
goodness gracious.
Yeah, I don't remember my first time watching it, but I used to watch it a lot and I really liked it. So yay.
Weird. I'm just saying, like, what kind of weirdo kid didn't like Disney growing up? Man, gotta be a real weirdo.
There are kids out there who did not like Disney. I'm not saying Colin didn't like Disney. I'm just saying he probably doesn't like it as much as the rest of us.
You're making assumptions.
I'm not saying Colin is.
I'm making assumptions. I'm making assumptions based on what you have told us about your history with Disney.
Yeah, I mean, like, we owned a bunch of Disney movies on VHS. Not like all of them, right? Like I still haven't seen most of like the sequels to any animated like Little Mermaid, like
That's fair.
those like
Most
any of
people
the sequels
haven't.
I ain't seen. But I've seen a decent number of the ones that came out when I was a kid. It's the
Yeah.
more recent ones that I've fallen off of.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then there's me, who also owned the sequels on top of owning the original movies as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Same. I didn't watch most of the sequels, but I did own them.
I watched them and I loved them. I'm on that part of the spectrum.
The Disney spectrum. Lovely. All right. Well, we've got our first times none of us remember because it was a long ass time ago.
Well, because we were 4.
This movie.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Ooh, depending on what time in the year, yeah.
Yes. Maybe.
Nuts.
Nuts. Anyway, this movie is directed by Stephen Herrick, who directed Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and The Mighty Ducks. I did not know either of those things. I had never heard this man's name before. But shout out to him because I love The Mighty Ducks. Also, apparently it was written by John Hughes.
it was.
Yeah, which is crazy to me because like I saw
Like
the
the
name.
80s, dude?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I saw the name and I was
Huh.
like, okay, John Hughes. And I was like, wait, John Hughes?
Yes, the
was like,
iconic John
Ferris
Hughes.
Bueller, Breakfast Club. Apparently he wrote Home Alone and Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3.
Yep. Which makes sense to me watching this
Yeah.
movie.
Right, because he put like the British Wet Bandits. Also, it's based on the novel, the 101 Dalmatians, not 101, because there's no 100 in the title of the book. I don't know. It's old. And it stars Glenn Close, Jeff Daniels, Jolie Richardson, Hugh Laurie, Ron Weasley's dad, and
His name is,
Joan. His name is like something really regular, right? Like Michael,
I think it's
Michael
Mark Williams,
Britton.
man.
Mark Williams. Some super regular. I was going to remember it.
It's Mark
And-
Williams,
And sorry, Mark. And Joan Plowright,
who I love.
whose name I just wanted to bring up because she sounds like an Austin Powers character. Like, there's no way your real last name is Plowright. But if it is, regards to you and your family. I apologize for making fun of your silly name. IMDb summary. An evil high fashion designer plots to steal Dalmatian puppies in order to make an extravagant fur coat, but instead creates an extravagant mess. That was a clever little summary. It's kind of quippy. Which is interesting because the summary doesn't mention like our two protagonists at all.
They're
I
not the
mean,
protagonists.
This movie is not about them.
Well,
You watch the back half
they're
of
the
this
good
movie,
guys.
like
Yeah,
they're
that's
in
true.
the front half, but then the
Yeah,
back
no.
half, like
It's mostly
nah.
the dogs and then
Anita
the
and
little-
Roger are not the protagonists of this movie.
Well, it's weird because it like they are in the fact that we start this movie with Roger, and then we go to Anita, and then we go back to Roger, and then we go to Anita and Roger.
But
and
it's
then
not
halfway
about
through,
them. It's about their dogs. It's about Pongo and Purdy.
Yeah, I guess it's just weird because like in the live action, Pongo and Purdy don't, talk.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels different than when you have the dogs more like anthropomorphized, kind of more humanized. And it's like, oh yeah, I can follow a dog protagonist when the dog is talking to me, like Homeward Bound. But when the dog is just like giving looks, all right.
I actually thought that was the most impressive thing about this movie, though, was that the dogs are acting.
Yeah.
They are acting.
That's the
Like
thing
a-
is, I was really wondering the entire time, like, how did the training of these dogs work?
Well, also,
'Cause they-
we forgot to mention that this movie also stars 20 adult Dalmatians and 230 Dalmatian puppies.
Yes, we forgot to mention that because I had no idea. I definitely didn't know that. That's so many dogs.
You got to get to 101 somehow.
That's true. And then you double it and add like 30.
Yeah.
So story. So I have an issue. I have a big issue with this movie. And I don't know if I want to talk about it in the story section or the character section because narratively, Roger and what's her name? Anita?
Anita.
Yes. Them getting engaged when they did and how they did is the dumbest thing I've ever seen narratively. But
Mhm.
from a character standpoint, that makes them the dumbest characters. So it's like, do I want to talk about how I don't like their characters doing that or just talk about how I don't like that as a story beat?
I thought that
I
that
don't-
as a story beat was ridiculous, and it also made me wonder what the timetable of this movie was, because they had a traditional wedding. Like, there was planning involved in that. Her
Catholic
dress,
wedding, I think.
yeah, and like in a church, her dress was far too well
Oh yeah, they had to
designed.
plan that.
Like, there was planning involved, so they were together for a bit before that wedding happens. But they do get engaged the day that they meet, which,
I was
to be fair, there are
Which-
people out there who have gotten engaged after like 3 days of knowing each other. So
I
Okay,
mean,
But
yeah,
I
those
don't
are like
wanna think
people
about those people.
you like order online, right? Like
No,
this is-
people legitimately have gotten
Holy
married
shit.
after like 4 or 5 days of knowing each other. It is a thing that has happened.
yeah, I think they make like reality shows about that now.
That was also like Married at First Sight, which is
Yeah.
surprisingly
But it's
popular, I guess.
like so ridiculous that they're like, oh, we should make a TV show based on this ridiculous concept.
Right.
Like these two people,
It's presented as just like, oh, this is cute, and I'm like,
yeah, like they
Oh, it's
met.
absolutely ridiculous. But also, this whole movie is ridiculous. It's about a woman who's trying to kidnap some dogs to make a fur coat. So like,
no, see that to me is
People do
believable,
that, and
'cause,
it's
like,
horrible.
yeah, poachers
people
and shit,
kidnap
like, people
dogs
do
to make
that.
fur coats.
I
That's
wouldn't
a
surprise me.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like prominent.
I just feel
but
like if poachers exist to just kill rare
People do
animals
kill
because
animals
they
for-
can,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, but puppies,
might as well.
dogs, like domestic dogs, like somebody just stole somebody's dogs out of their house. Like, I don't think people
people
do
be
that.
wilding.
People
I
are-
mean, Lady
exactly. That's
Gaga's
the thing.
dog walker got shot. So
Oh, that was for the reward money though.
that's fair. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, money, capitalism, it's bad. But
That's also the theme of this movie. No, I'm just- okay.
but I just like you meet this woman. She busts you in your face with a purse full of bricks,
I love that meet
and
cute. By the
then
way,
man, I hate it.
I love it so much because it's the most ridiculous thing ever, and I'm just like,
It's
love
a
this
very
so
good
much.
like. I feel like the dogs chasing after each other. That's super cute. Like if the leashes get tangled or whatever, which
Okay,
I
but
think happened in the cartoon.
why are those dogs so horny for each other so instantly?
And so badly behaved. Like these are smart dogs.
That's the thing is,
But
like,
they're just
we
running
spend
through
a
the
solid,
street.
like 3 or 4 minutes watching Jeff Daniels get tugged around, going, "Pongo, stop!" I think after you've yelled it 10 times, he's not gonna
He's
stop.
not gonna
Like,
stop. I love that meet
Pongo,
cute
Pongo,
so
stop.
much.
Pongo, no, Pongo, stop. And these dogs are smart enough that like Perdita at the beginning of the movie is watching the news.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, animals getting got. And then she looks at Anita and she's like, yo, you got to see this, bro. And then she's like growling at the part of the news when the newsman says, they did something bad to an animal. And I'm like, this dog understands the news.
Yeah. Well, I have to give John Hughes credit and props because it is very difficult to make a movie that is about animals and they don't talk, but you have to give them each their own personalities. And I think he does that really well in this movie. I think there's a lot of like great visual kind of storytelling done with these dogs and other animals that also appear in this movie and getting the message across without having to say, hey, we're going to make these animals talk in order for you to understand what's happening. Like you can clearly
Yeah.
understand what's happening as the movie goes along. And I think that's where the story actually really succeeds.
Yeah, the animals are great.
Yeah.
We should just take all the humans out. It's like a Godzilla movie.
ooh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm here for the creatures. I'm not here for these people because these people are dumb and they make me mad. Like, you brought it to your house.
Definitely could
and
have
then
set
you were
up their
like,
relationship better.
or at all. Like, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, do you want another cup of marriage? Like, what? That's not.
I would have
No.
been running.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I
the
think-
worst Freudian slip in the world. And she was like, I do. And he was like, you do? After he had already corrected to tea. And she said, I do. So now she's saying, I want a cup of tea. And then she's like, I will. And he's like, you will? And then they're engaged. And I was like, was there a time jump? Like, I thought I looked away
No.
and missed a jump cut to like a later date. I was
There
like,
should
no,
have
this
been.
is the same day.
Honestly, I
Ah.
think the easiest way to have fixed that problem is just to be they fell in love because their dogs wanted to hang out all the time. So they got their dogs to hang out all the
you
time.
could
But
have
that meant
done
they
a
had to spend
quick,
time
like,
together.
30-second montage
Yeah.
of them going on dates or something.
So easy. You could have just not had them get engaged at the end of that scene.
Speaking of montages, I do like the montage that happens after that, though. The wedding and all of that. And then her finding out that she's pregnant, like that whole ordeal. I thought that was very cute. But yes, the kid that
Okay, if we're
that
talking
engagement
about that,
is
though,
very weird.
Can we
hate it.
segue into characters specifically so we can talk about Nanny? Who is she? What is she?
I don't
How
know,
does
but I
she
love her.
know what she knows. Why
Nanny-
is she always there?
Yes.
Because she's
Nanny's
great.
like, she's like a magical Negro character, but she's white.
I love her.
Yes. Oh my god.
It's like she's sitting there talking to Anita, and she's like, yes, Perdita has the look of a mother. She's pregnant. I can tell that dog is pregnant. I'm like, Nanny, are you a veterinarian? What is your job? Are you a nanny? Is Nanny your name? Are you Anita's nanny? Because she's a grown woman. She ain't got no kids. Do you live
Yeah.
here? Why are you here? Who are you? Where'd you come from? How do you know this dog is pregnant? And why did you realize the dog was pregnant before you realized this human woman is pregnant that you've been talking to and maybe living with? Does she live
Oh
there?
yeah, no, I think she lives there for sure.
Right. So it's like, oh yeah, your dog is definitely pregnant. Because look, she's smiling. And it's like, what? It's like, oh, she's smiling like she got a secret. Like, she's a dog. She's a happy dog. She's smiling. Oh, she's pregnant.
So Nanny, the character, and she's in the original animated movie as well. Nanny's their housekeeper.
Okay.
So that's
That
why
makes
she
sense.
lives there and that's why she works there. She's their housekeeper.
So she's not like a nanny.
No, she's not a nanny, but
Well, they wouldn't need a nanny at that point.
That's why I was
'cause-
confused. She's a housekeeper named Nanny,
yes.
which is a little confusing. It's like having a chef named Butler.
Yeah, it's not.
I want to do that one day now. That sounds
Or
amazing.
like a chauffeur named security guard.
I don't know if that works, but all right.
It doesn't. Just like having a nanny. Whatever. It's fine. Nanny's cool. I liked her a lot.
I don't remember when the novel was originally written. So who knows?
it's
Maybe
old.
maybe that's a nanny was just a person who covered the entire gamut of that job description.
I feel like not though, because when did like Mary Poppins come out, and like when was that written? And she is a nanny,
That's also a
Just
very
watching.
old.
Yeah, she's.
and that's all based around the kids. So if that's what a nanny, and that's in England, I don't know. I don't get it.
Let's just chalk it up to England is weird.
She kind of creeps me out though.
Nanny creeps
She
you
just
out?
knows things.
She knows too much.
Yeah.
I love Nanny. Nanny's great. I love her personality. She's just so great.
She was
Like
scrappy.
as a person, she's cool. I just
Oh, yeah,
there's
for
something
sure.
about her that creeps me out.
When Arthur Weasley showed up, she was ready to throw hands. She was, bah!
I think
She
that's
was
why I
fighting
love
them
her
dudes.
so much. She was like, I'm not going
Yeah.
down without a fight.
Yeah, they were trying to tag team her in the hallway, and then she was fighting them off. It was weird. I feel like Nanny, she should have been like, we should have found out at the end that Nanny's like an angel, or like some kind of like otherworldly being.
What?
So she knows everything.
Dallas, what?
It doesn't make sense otherwise. She
That
knows too
doesn't
much.
make sense.
All
Colin,
right.
there are movies with angels in them.
Yes,
Angels in the
but
outfield?
Usually you know
Angels in the
exactly.
outfield?
That one you know
Michael.
exactly what you're getting into. That would be too much of a twist for this movie.
I'll be cool with it.
I feel like it's important if you're in this character segment that we discuss the most important characters in this movie, especially since one of them is the reason why we're doing this throwback in the first place, which would be
Sure.
Cruella DeVille and the dogs.
Yes.
I think Glenn Close brought Cruella DeVille to life so very perfectly. Ridiculously and perfectly.
Here's the thing. This whole movie, she reminded me of, I think it's a tweet that's like, a woman does some sociopathic shit, her gaze, oh, work. Like, that is exactly what Cruella is. It's like, yeah, she's terrible and I hate her, but a girl was serving looks the entire time.
Dude, her office is incredible.
It's beautiful.
Immaculate.
Like, her fashion sense is fantastic, and I hate it because this entire movie I was thinking, I just want to watch The Devil Wears Prada now. Like, that is what this movie makes me want to do.
Honestly,
I'm going to bring that up later.
Okay, yeah, because I guess we'll circle back to that because man, The Devil Wears Prada gives me so many Cruella vibes, and it always has. But that's fine. Cruella is a character that I hate, and I always have.
You should.
But Glenn Close was fantastic. Like she did her
Mhm.
thing. That YouTube video I was watching before, like they do kind of like a side by side thing. Like they captured a lot of the animation really
Yeah.
well, even down to like the line delivery of whomever played her in the animation. Like the way she does it versus the way Glenn Close does. Like she really captured it. It's like, man, I hate you, but it's because you're so good at this.
Yeah, I feel the same
But-
way about her that I do about Angelina Jolie as Maleficent and Kate Blanchett as the evil stepmother in Cinderella. She perfectly captures who this villain is. It's funny, I was reading a fact about the movie, which was Glenn Close actually thought that the character was written a little too soft. So she went back and watched the original animated movie and really picked up on like the crudeness of the character and just how awful she truly is. And she added that into her performance because she pointed out that the fun of watching 101 Dalmatians is watching Cruella get her comeuppance at the end of it, watching her be punished for being an awful person. You want to see these dogs succeed and you want to see her be punished for trying to kill these dogs. And, you know, not just dogs, they're puppies.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that like she functions perfectly as, I wouldn't say an antagonist, as a villain, because her motivation is, I want to kill these animals. Like, that's it. That's this.
Yep.
It doesn't go any deeper than that, and that's fine. Because man, immediately she says that, and you're like, cool, you suck.
Yeah. Glenn Close just comes off as so crazy in this movie. She would come at them, and I was just like, girl, you really are just tripping right now. Can you back up? Like, why are you talking to
Also,
people
though,
like this?
I want to know the thing about Cruella that I want to know that I'm never going to get an answer to is why does she know Morse code? How did she learn it? Because she knows it when Skinner calls her, Or when she's talking to him, he taps on the phone. He taps out Morse code to tell her he's having issues with the dogs or whatever, and she knows what he's saying.
That's
How
true.
does she know? Was she in a war?
Maybe
No, I
she
think what
just
happened.
learned it to
So
communicate with him.
yeah,
But I feel like
or
she wouldn't care.
I think what happened is Nanny taught her because Nanny knows everything,
There we go.
including how to teach
Man.
Cruella Morse code.
I don't know if there's anything to say about the dogs other than the dogs are fantastically trained dogs.
They're adorable,
Yeah,
and I
they're
love them.
really good.
They're really good.
I mean,
guys.
for the most part. Are you talking about the actor dogs or the character dogs?
I meant the dogs, just in general, the dogs.
Because the dogs are not good dogs. Because the whole reason that Roger and Anita meet is because the dogs run through the street for 20 minutes.
They're
trying to
usually good dogs until
raw
they
each
fall
other.
in love, and now they're trying to raw each other, and trouble ensues.
that's
Just like
bad.
humans. Humans do that all the time.
Humans are bad.
Humans are bad.
Okay, have you like aggressively run at somebody trying to fuck?
No,
Colin,
I
have you
have
not?
not personally, but
You know,
I'm sure
I
there are
haven't,
people out there
Dallas.
who have. Oh my
I
god!
just
So,
no wonder you get hit with a brick. Like,
well, okay.
should have hit Pongo with a brick. No, that wouldn't be very nice.
Before we move on, though,
Cruella would have hit him with a brick.
fun fact about me, which I promised I would mention, because Dallas doesn't know this, but Colin does, because I forgot that I told Colin this about myself. I actually have a favorite Dalmatian in 101 Dalmatians. And I have since I was
Ooh.
a small child. My favorite Dalmatian is Lucky. And I don't know if it's because of the movies or it's because of the fact that I have had, for Christmas, I have had a Lucky stocking ever since I was a very, very small child. That stocking is probably 25 years old at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, so Lucky is my favorite Dalmatian, which is a fun fact about me.
Which is your favorite, Dallas?
I don't expect most people to have one.
I do actually.
You have a favorite Dalmatian? Who's your favorite Dalmatian?
Yes. My favorite Dalmatian is Two Tone.
Yo, that name, I instantly thought of you. Like, that's a gangster.
Oh yeah, my favorite is Two Tone because in the movie Straight Outta Compton, Ice Cube was on a bus and his friends are like throwing out gang signs at some Bloods, and then the Bloods stop the bus and get on the bus to threaten these children, and they're like, "I'm OG Two Tone." And I was like, "Yo." So when Roger, the whitest man in any movie ever, is like Two Tone, I was like, "Wait, what? You got blood, homies?"
Yeah, his dog.
Exactly, but yeah, Two Tone's my favorite for that reason.
Oh, Lucky has always been my favorite. I think I told Colin this because there was a large statue of Lucky at the hotel that we were staying at
Mm-hmm.
What? Were you at like a Disney hotel?
when we were at Disney World. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yes.
Just a random hotel.
It's a random hotel that
Just
has
a
this
random
101
hotel with a
Dalmatians
Lucky
statue.
statue.
one of the 101 Dalmatians.
You know.
Not Pongo, not Perdita, Lucky.
Lucky. They might have had a Pongo one.
They should.
I don't know. I
They
wouldn't
had-
be able to tell them apart, to be honest. So
They had Lucky. I mean, the animation does a pretty good job of being able to distinctly tell which one's which. Yeah.
I mean, Colin, it's pretty easy to tell Pongo was the one running down the street to hump the
except
other
they
dog.
both did that at
I
different
believe-
times.
But only one of them has a penis.
Pongo is the
Fair.
one who wears the black collar and Perdita wears the red one. But I think in the animated movie, Pongo wears the red one and then Perdita wears the blue one. It's a thing. They're color coordinated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, wanted to shout out Betty Lou Gerson. I don't know. She was the OG Cruella DeVille in the animated movie.
Oh.
And she's the reason that Cruella is brought to life that way because she was acting.
Acting.
Back in the 60s.
So what did you guys think of the visuals and sounds of this movie?
The dogs are cute.
They are.
That's pretty much the extent of my thoughts on the visuals of this movie. I like looking at the dogs. This movie could have just been the dogs playing for the runtime of the movie. And I probably would have liked it more because I wouldn't have to deal with Cruella, who I hate. And I heard Discount Wet Bandits and Roger and Anita in a dumbass engagement.
Oh, I forgot to
Just give me
mention
the
how much
dogs.
I love Horace and Jasper.
Are those the Wet Bandits?
Yeah.
Or the British Bandits?
Yeah. They're hilarious. I forgot how
And then
funny
Skinner
Mark
is
Williams
the scary
is.
one.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also didn't realize that Mr. Weasley was in this movie until I was watching it this time around because I haven't watched this movie since I stopped watching VHSs about 20 years ago. So,
Oh my God.
Darn.
Wait, did you watch this movie on your VHS?
no.
Okay. I was like, whoa, to me, you
I
really
watched it on
went for
Disney
it.
Plus.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, no, Colin, any visuals and sounds on your end? You usually aren't really into that type of stuff unless it's super, like,
Mostly just
aesthetic.
every look Cruella was serving.
Ah,
Like
yes.
every time she's on screen, like girl is put together in sort of wild ways.
It's
And I
true.
love that for her. Like, I hate her as a character, but her fashion, like, she went off.
I mean, she has to be a successful fashion designer for a reason, and they definitely
Yeah.
show you why.
It'll be like, I'm wearing your dogs.
That was when I really knew she was
Yeah,
crazy. I was
I'm
like,
so
yo,
mad
fam.
that Anita never punched this woman in the face.
Right?
Like, at that point, you know, she's your boss, whatever. But she comes
Mhm.
into your house and is like,
Okay,
you're
she
fired. Is
comes
ripping
in,
money,
like,
ripping papers, throwing it in your face, talking about.
not even that, bro. The first time she's in the house, she's just there when they get home. Like, she just let herself in. She's just standing in their living
Yeah.
room like, yo, what up?
She should have got dog walked, pun fully intended.
She was wildin'.
Wildin'.
Visuals and sounds. Visually, I don't know if it's just because we have completely switched over to digital nowadays, but I do really like the look of this film, and I think it might be because it was actually shot on film. It just has a different like texture and feeling than movies that we see nowadays. And I feel that way about like a lot of movies from like the 90s. It's just a cool look. The kind of like the graininess of it is really nice. I thought the production design was legit. Cruella's office, for instance, I was like, girl, this office is fantastic. It is wonderful. Oh my gosh. Like, you're absolutely evil, but your office is fabulous. But also, like, the house in the countryside where they're holding the dogs captive, it's run down, but like the production design on that place is really cool looking. I don't know. I just really thought that they designed this movie very, very well.
You know what didn't get designed well?
What?
Mm.
Their house at the end. Who let them do that?
Oh,
Who let them? Who let them do that? It's
I
bad.
mean, while we're talking about the end, that was just, they're like, yo, is there anything we can do to help you police people? And they're like, yeah.
take these 84
You want
puppies.
100 dogs?
They're like, you want 84 extra puppies? What?
They're like, oh, yeah, you know, no one is called to claim all these dogs. We don't want to deal with them. Can you?
Well, it wasn't that they didn't want to deal with them. They were going to go to the pound, which means that there was a good chance that these dogs might end up dead. So
Those dogs are too cute to die. But yeah, I get it. They're
It's a
like, oh,
pound.
yeah, you want all these dogs? And then Anita, who decided she wanted to be smart now, was like, yo, we can't do that. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. We don't have a house that size. No one has a house that size. And then Roger's like, oh, I'll get a bigger place. You know, I make video games in the 90s. We'll just buy a bigger house. And then Nanny's like, oh, yeah, we already got 15. What's 84 more? It's like, Nanny, you know better than this. You know everything. You're all knowing. And
By the way,
have
the
84 more dogs.
the interactive game that came with the this movie slapped, by the way. Just so everybody.
Okay, was
knows.
that the game that he was designing?
I don't
like-
remember if the actual interactive game was the game in the movie itself, but I remember that there were
looked-
graphics
yeah.
and stuff very similar to that in the interactive game. So it
It
was
looks
very
super
similar to that.
familiar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I played this game, which is very meta. And I kind of dig it.
Yeah, because they did
Yeah.
come out with an interactive game to go alongside the movie. That was, I would assume, it was basically the game that's in the movie. Not quite the same, but
Right.
similar.
But also, speaking of that, we have to like take some time to appreciate how far ahead of its time that whole scene is. Like, he's pitching this game to this child, basically like influencer, who's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I like this game. If you change this little thing, it'd be
I didn't
great.
even think about
Like,
that.
this is a recurring plot on Mythic Quest, and that show came out last year because
Oh.
this is happening now. Like, if that kid was a streamer, this would be a current scene. The only thing is, it's the 90s. That wasn't a thing.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, this is really, you know, this changes the villain a little bit because kids are who you pitch to. Although I think they were literally pitching to the kid.
Yeah, they were
because
pitching
the
to
kid's
him
like,
legit.
I like the villain now. And then the man behind the kid is like, all right, we got a deal. I'm like, yeah, is the kid your
Well,
boss?
Well, I don't think the kid was the boss. It was more like a market research type of test where it was just like, well,
Yeah.
if
One child.
yeah, it's the
One
one.
child.
But he said at the beginning of the movie, this kid has predicted every #1 video game for the last like few years. Like, this is the kid
Yeah.
that we're going to.
He,
at
he
this
was
time.
in the womb.
He's an influencer.
He's an influencer, man. He's been doing this
It's
since he was like
insane.
5.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. But at the end of the movie, I feel like he's like the final boss to get your game sold. It's like, if you don't like it, we're not buying it.
Exactly.
That's how it is. All right. What is your favorite aspect of this film?
The dogs. Colin, what's your favorite aspect of the film?
Cruella's looks.
I mean, I figured
Yeah. He's not
we're
wrong.
both being predictable.
You are. I think I'm going to agree on the dogs, mostly because I'm very nowadays. If we did a movie like this, and we have had movies somewhat like this in recent years, you would CG the dog quite often,
Mm.
and I feel like we don't get dogs acting quite to the extent that they do in this movie. Like the dogs are giving expressions, they're giving sounds, they're doing all sorts of stuff that I'm just
Mhm.
like, I didn't know dogs could
Yeah.
act this well. I didn't know you could train a dog on command to just be like
Especially
this.
the number of them.
There's a lot.
Like one dog, I'd be like, okay, but they train like a whole bunch, and that's impressive.
They train 250 dogs altogether to do this stuff.
That's insane.
And it's not just like dogs like running around places. No, there are dogs giving you emotional moments like, you know, hey, look, we've got a dead puppy. We need this dog to act sad real quick. Like, what? How?
That scene was wild.
And then also they have like some really good animatronics in this movie. Like if I, you know, as a kid, I would never have picked up the, hey, that's an animatronic raccoon. As an adult, I do because, you know, I've been watching movies for way too long. But, you know, I was like, that's an impressive animatronic.
Yeah, nice little raccoon.
I just thought that it was very impressive, the work that they were doing with animals in this movie, which nowadays we wouldn't do because CG is so much easier.
I ain't got time for all that. Training 200 dogs. What I look like.
Okay, well, final question, because this is one of our first Throwback Thursdays in a while where we're actually doing it because there is a movie coming out soon.
Yeah, because movies are coming out now.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one who is going to see this movie in this group. But what are you guys anticipating, if at all, from Cruella, I guess?
Colin, what are you anticipating?
You know, I just because like it's it's difficult, right? Because presumably for her entire career, she's been about like, I need to get the fur of the most exotic animals because I need to look best and I love fur and all that. So what is this movie going to do to make her at all sympathetic? Like that is a mountain to climb. Like the production of fur happens outside of her. I get that. And that's already kind of iffy. But she's like, no, that Siberian tiger in the zoo, get that, kill that. I need that. So how are we going to take that woman and make me like, you know what? Yeah, you were down on your luck. You are woman, hear you roar. Like, no. I don't know.
If I had to guess based on so much marketing, I would say that they're going to do that thing where you take the devil we know and pit them against the character who seems worse by comparison. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, you're our, I guess, protagonist now because we don't want this person to win. It's not a perfect example because The Boys is just full of so many terrible characters. But when Stormfront shows up in The Boys and we realize what she is, it's like, oh man, like I do hate Homelander, but at least he's not a Nazi. It doesn't make Homelander the hero. But if they had to try to do that, they probably would have been like, oh yeah, Stormfront is the bad guy now because she's literally a Nazi. Not to say Emma Thompson's going to play a Nazi. I don't think she's going to do that.
It's a very extreme example, but it's true.
Yeah.
Does Stormfront existing make you look on Homelander any kinder? Or because they're separate people, right? So you don't have to, that doesn't have to change your opinion of him. If he's a dick, he can still be a dick.
Yeah, and he is. But it's like when you see a character just kind of like react a certain way, like when we see Stormfront just going full, alt-right, Third Reich, crazy, and even Homelander's looking at her like, yo, chill, then it's like, oh, okay, he's at least partially human. Like he's not a complete monster.
Okay.
Because there's some stuff that even is too far for him. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe Emma Thompson. It's Emma Thompson in Cruella, right?
Yeah, it is. Emma
Maybe
Thompson and Emma Stone
wearing human skin. I
don't
know where
maybe she's gonna be like Jack the Ripper. Surprise.
Well, as the person who is actually going to be seeing this movie and probably going to be the one reviewing it next time you guys hear us on this podcast, I gotta be honest, I wasn't exactly looking forward to this movie at first because I was like, Cruella, but why was this the decision? This is the movie you guys decided to make, really? But I mean, I do like Emma Stone. I think Emma Stone is completely talented. And I do love Joel Fry, who is playing, I think he's playing Jasper. And I love Joel Fry so much. But yeah, Emma Stone and Emma Thompson, two of the best Emmas acting right now. And the movie's also being produced by Glenn Close, which added to my curiosity. The fact that she is an executive producer on the film. it made me wonder how much of a prequel is this film going to be, if a prequel at all. After watching the trailer, it did feel like Emma Stone was very much channeling Glenn Close's performance in 101 Dalmatians. Just the accent and everything, it sounds like she's kind of gotten that down pat. And then it's already getting some early reactions, and a lot of people are saying it's Disney's The Devil Wears Prada.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I love The Devil Wears Prada. Except it sounds like Emma Stone, I guess, is the Anne Hathaway character, but Anne Hathaway's character ends up being evil at the end. So
Oh, really?
I'm very confused because
no, I'm
Wait,
saying I'm saying The Devil Wears Prada, Anne Hathaway's character
Oh.
doesn't end up being evil, but Emma
Oh, got you,
Stone
got you,
is,
got you.
is going to be
Well-
in that position, but end up
No,
being
yeah.
evil.
Oh,
Okay.
that's gonna be quite a hill to. I don't.
But that's what I'm saying is like, because it does look like The Devil Wears Prada. Full disclosure, I have never seen that movie, but I've seen parts of it.
It's
And
fantastic.
it's like, yeah, when you take Cruella and make her the Anne Hathaway, and she has to deal with, the devil and Emma Thompson, we're watching that movie like, oh yeah, you're Anne Hathaway. We like Anne Hathaway. We sympathize with her.
Yeah.
You ain't killed no dogs yet, to our knowledge. So at this point, you're just Emma Stone in The Devil
Yeah.
Wears Prada.
But I am curious. A lot of people were also, but this was before the movie even came out, before earlier reactions. People were also like comparing it, or trying to compare it to Joker, comparing it to Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
What?
Because she's unhinged.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
a character who's bad. They're a little unhinged. Now they're protagonists. But
I guess, but this I don't. When you say Joker, do you mean the character or the movie?
The
probably
movie.
the movie, right?
Yeah, see that I think is a difference. I don't like this movie. I don't think is gonna go that far.
No, it's
on
definitely not
Disney
going to go that far.
She's not gonna be shooting niggas in the subway and then freaking
I don't know.
See,
lean with
but-
it, rock with it down the steps.
Here's the thing. All of these questions that the three of us are bringing up as to how they are going to do this is why I'm curious and why I want to see it, because I want to know how they decided to do this, how they decided to take a villain that we all hate, and there's no way to redeem her. You can't redeem a person who wants to kill a bunch of puppies. You just can't. It's not like Maleficent, where they were just like, hey, the true story is she actually turns out to be a good guy at the end. Like, you can't do that with Cruella de Vil.
I mean,
So-
you can, in the way, like, if you would have told me that you can make Maleficent the good guy.
I don't know. You decided not to kill
That's the thing.
100 puppies?
Yeah, because, like, what Maleficent
Somebody
ends
lied?
up doing in her new yes, like in her new movie, Maleficent is like, oh, I'm gonna be your mom. I'm not gonna turn to a dragon and try to murder you and your boyfriend. So this movie could just be like, oh, I'm gonna run a dog shelter now because now I'm the protagonist.
I don't think you can
I
do
don't wanna
that
kill
with this
dogs anymore.
character. I don't think you can do that.
The thing is, everything she like, her name, even everything
Yeah.
about her is just
Her name is Cruella
shit.
Devil.
yeah. So it's like,
But also,
how do you rehabilitate?
Maleficent's name is Maleficent.
Well,
Good
no, but
point,
that was
good
done
point,
on
good
purpose, though. But no, if you like Cruella de Vil, like if you look at the IMDb page for Cruella, spoiler alert, it says that Emma Stone is playing Estella / Cruella, which means that she had a name that was not Cruella before she became Cruella.
So she named herself Cruella Devil.
Exactly. So it means that she decided to go down this path.
Yeah, but she's just trying to. The
I
devil wears
just
Prada.
feel
She want to wear Prada.
What? I just feel like there's gonna be like a scene or something where she gets, I don't know, like bitten by a dog, and then she goes, you know what? This is it. From now on, I'm Cruella, and I hate dogs, and I want to kill them. Like what?
In the
No.
trailer, she steals Emma Thompson's dogs, her Dalmatians.
There it is. That's what she
So
does.
she's already on the path.
So I don't know what's happening. See, exactly.
But I feel
all,
like
all these questions are exactly
Okay,
why
see,
I need to see this movie so I can find out
I
what's
need you to
going
go
on.
see this movie. I
want to
You
know
know
what's
what?
going on.
two things. First, I'm pretty sure at this point it's more I hate Emma Thompson than I hate dogs.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
two, I want a prequel about Nanny. Forget Cruella. I want to know how Nanny came up on these streets, how she learned the things she learned. Is Nanny her real name? I have
Disney,
so many
you
questions about
heard
Nanny.
it here first. We want a nanny
Yes.
film.
Put that on Disney Plus.
To end this, what we're anticipating thing, I have also heard, I've read a couple of people say that this is the best live action Disney film that's been made so far. I am
All right.
intrigued.
That's like live action adaptations of animated, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't comment. I haven't seen the movie. I probably won't agree if I do see the movie, but
Also, another fun fact, this is technically, 101 Dalmatians was technically the second live action Disney movie, animated Disney movie.
like ever.
I know people like to
Wow.
think that Cinderella was the first live action remake that Disney made, but technically it's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they did Jungle Book too, right?
Yep, in
Like
1994.
the old Jungle Book.
And this is the second
Huh.
live
Yeah,
action
they've been
remake.
about this business.
Yeah. They're just doing it more often now. They've been doing
Yeah.
it since we were kids.
Yeah, they were never like, we grew up with 2 101 Dalmatians and 2 Jungle Books. We just weren't complaining about it.
Yeah, Disney's been doing this for a while. It's not new. People complaining about
Yeah.
things that aren't new. It's just like it's not new, guys. It's just happening more often.
Yeah, and when we were kids, we didn't complain like, oh man, the lack of creativity in this marketing decision. We were 4. It was like, ooh, more dogs.
I don't mean us. I mean people in general.
Okay, I got you.
Dallas, me and you typically try to avoid complaining about things until we see them.
Yeah. I try. I do my best.
Try is the operative word here. But thank you guys for joining us. That is all we've got for you guys today. Tune in next time because we will be giving our review for Cruella and A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yes, I'm watching Quiet Place because I like scary movies.
And I'm
And
watching
none
Cruella
of
because
them
I
are
like
going with
Disney
me 'cause
movies.
They don't like scary movies.
I'm
Yeah,
going to be
whatever.
honest with you. I just don't think I can handle A Quiet Place in a theater.
That's fair. That's the best way to watch it, but that's fair.
I can't
fair.
scream. So I don't want to ruin that for anybody out there. But
Colin, you want to watch it?
No, thank you.
Okay. We're I think I
Jesus
told
Christ, why does he almost fucking anyway? Sorry, what?
sorry. I think last time we talked about your evolution into a horror fan. Like
That's not happening.
Demi's evolution into a weeb. You guys are both on your little paths changing.
No, she's on her path. I am not.
Okay. But yeah, thanks audience for listening to all the dog talk. Thank you to Crown Digital, Brandon and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing and putting us on YouTube. And as always, repping for the film people because you were like, oh yeah. Like Colin is like, I like clothes. And I'm like, I like dogs. And Demi is like, I like production design. The screenwriting when it comes to the dogs and training all these dogs and the dogs that were extras and the production design.
somebody has to be the Bailey of the podcast.
Yeah. Man, one day we'll get Bailey on here.
We should.
Oh, hell yeah.
That'd be
my
so much fun.
God. But like for the most pretentious art film possible,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
none of us are going to see.
Do we have
We have
any of those
taste.
out this year?
I don't know. We're going to get him for like an A24 remake of an A24 film or something like that.
Let's get him for the Green Knight.
That's A24, right?
That is A24.
Boom.
You know, I would be down.
It's so funny. We're just talking about Bailey. Like, he has no idea that we're plotting on him. But yeah, Colin, thank you for repping for the fashionistas in the audience.
Yes.
That's me.
Yep. That's you. Audience, what do you think of 101 Dalmatians? The live action. Does it have the dumbest marriage proposal in cinema history?
Probably.
Yes. Are you excited for Cruella? Let us know. Find us on the medias. Twitter, y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr, Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. Audience, if you want to ask me why I haven't slept in who knows how long, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the King Named Simba.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
And you guys can talk to me about Disney on Twitter and Instagram. You guys can find me at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
Yes, and you can find Gabby on Twitter at Cruella Was Right. I told her that's not a great stance to take, but she insisted, which is ironic because Gabby has a dog.
I think she has 3 dogs living with her, as a matter of fact. Or 2.
I mean, maybe it was 3 and now it's 2 because she thinks Cruella was right. Anyway, it's been different. Bye.
Bye.